What is Bill Belichick doing?
I might actually reach out to him and make sure everything's good, but I am concerned from what I'm hearing.
And he's such a control freak, but he's relinquished control, it feels like. That's what's surprising to me.
If Chuck's concerned, we should all be very alarmed. I just wish Barkley knew a nice woman from San Antonio to set Bill up with.
You know, I think it's a great city. I think they got the best organization in the NBA, but they do have some big old women down there. Me joking about those big old women down in San Antonio.
Maybe they could buy some real estate together down in Galveston.
Sitting in Galveston with that dirty-ass water be washing up on the shore. You people think they're in the beach.
If Dan Patrick is talking about it, you know it's going beyond standard tabloid fodder.
Next guest, Luke DeCock.
Excuse me, who?
Luke DeCock.
Who?
Luke DeCock.
Wait, one more time.
Luke DeCock.
If we get 10,000 underdog signups by the end of May, I will name my next child Luke
DeCock.
If he's happy, I'm happy.
Okay, then. I'm just going to shut up.
Everybody in the world saw this and was like, something's wrong.
Yeah. I wonder whether or not Bill even wrote the book.
I want to know about Spygate. I want to know about the Deflategate.
I'm not sure what's going on. I think he got to be very careful right now. This is starting to be on a very slippery slope.
You want to read 269 pages of Bill Belichick? No, thank you. Right, here we go. Here's we good?
How did Bill Belichick go from this guy
I can't stand it. Run it again. Huddle up and run it again, Brady.
to this guy?
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
For 2 decades, Bill Belichick was the closest thing American sports had to a modern myth. The stoic architect of a 6-time Super Bowl dynasty, the hooded Sith Lord of Foxborough, vanquisher of quarterbacks and killer of storylines. He conquered the NFL not by charming the media, but by mastering silence.
Just where your team is right now, just how good it is right now. I don't know.
Ambiguity and ruthless control. Reporters dreaded his one-word answers, or even worse, just one of his stare downs.
Locker room rancor as a result of this.
Opposing coaches feared his maniacal preparation. Even owner Robert Kraft, the billionaire who signed his checks, often learned of Belichick's true thoughts only after decisions had been made. In an industry fueled by gossip and leaks,
Maybe that's a problem. Too much gossiping and not enough stretching.
Belichick built a fortress of secrecy, and he guarded it with the paranoia of a Cold War general. He wasn't loved, he was respected, feared, and most of all, unfucking touchable. That myth began to fracture with Tom Brady's departure back in 2020. It cracked further during the Patriots' mediocrity in the seasons that followed, and now, astonishingly, it threatens to collapse altogether over not a scandal of football, but of misplaced trust, mismanaged fame, and a 24-year-old woman named Jordon Hudson. Belichick's improbable post-Patriots chapter was supposed to be a quiet coda, a book deal, the art of winning, a modest return to college football at the University of North Carolina, a final victory lap for a man who had already secured his place in sports history. Instead, it's descending into an unforced public spectacle driven not by paparazzi or scandal-hungry reporters, but by Belichick himself and his inability to control his closest relationships. In February, we did a video about how good we thought Bill Belichick was going to be as the next head coach at UNC. Now, for a lack of better phrases, shit looks weird. It looks very weird. I'm worried about old Bill. I'm worried about old Bill.
I'm worried for Bill.
And for the first time ever, Bill does not appear to be in control, and the media might be manipulating him. Oh God, Bill. Oh, Billy. Less than 1,000 subscribers away from 740,000. We've added 14,000 of you since draft day. That's crazy. Let's make it an even 15. Today's episode is sponsored by Underdog and my code TGS, or That's Good. We are just a little over 100 signups away from hitting 6,000 signups at Underdog. Of course, when I hit 6,000 signups, Underdog owes me $60,000 freaking dollars as a bonus, which I will share with the people who help make this channel hum. Will Keys, my writer, Johnny Barks, my top dog editor, bonuses for those guys. We're so close. I appreciate the support, all 5,900 of you who have signed up already, but we got to close the deal. And if you're going to play, I suggest entering in the Best Ball Mania tournament. They open that up after every draft. Now that we know which rookies are going where, if you got a good beat on these rookies, play now. The top prize is $2 million. They tally your best fantasy score every week, and at the end of the season, a $2 million winner will be crowned. And how cool would it be if the $2 million winner was one of my signups? Very cool. Code TGS or That's Good, link in the description. We're almost there. We always knew just a little bit about Belichick's personal life, mostly through the lens of his football upbringing via his father, the famous scout Steve Belichick. He rose to fame as a defensive coordinator of the two-time Super Bowl winner Giants under Bill Parcells. And his myth started to grow after his game plan in January of 1991 shut down the Bills' up-tempo K-gun offense. There was the success, and then a disaster in Cleveland, the napkin resignation from the Jets, and of course, the 6 Super Bowls alongside Tom Brady in New England. We knew just a little bit of him as a devoted father, his 3-decade marriage that ended in divorce, and his 16-year relationship with Londa Holliday, who was the executive director of the Bill Belichick Foundation. But after his mutual...
He said fired.
It was a mutual decision.
Parting of ways with the Patriots, Bill became more accessible. He was all over television and the internet. He got social media accounts, and he got a 24-year-old girlfriend, former cheerleader Jordon Hudson, who he allegedly met on a plane in 2021. There was always scrutiny about that relationship because of the, what's the weird thing about their relationship? Is it the 49-year age gap? Yeah, that's what it is. That part's weird, and if you don't think it's weird, you're a creep. You're a creep. It's the kind of age gap that would leave Leonardo DiCaprio jealous. But that was really all there was, right? Perhaps a little bit of intrigue and casual disgust. It would have made more sense if it was Pete Carroll. You know, an old rich man who also had a fun personality. You know, somebody who might not melt if the sunshine hits him. We know why she's with him and why Bill is with her. And it still felt odd because it's Bill fucking Belichick. What on earth do those two talk about? I don't know. Anyway, lately, Hudson has been taking center stage in every facet of Bill's life. It's starting to feel a little bit sinister, and it all came to a head on a nationally televised interview. Hudson's disruptive presence during Belichick's CBS Sunday morning interview stunned even longtime observers, longtime Belichick supporters. Here was the famously guarded coach who once turned a Super Bowl media day into an art installation of dead-eyed non-answers, allowing his girlfriend to hijack a national interview, openly contradict him, storm off set, and drag CBS producers into a frantic scramble to salvage the taping. We got a small taste of what has been reported as an even bigger nightmare by CBS. That's their side.
Reporting coming out about this interview that they included that because she interrupted so often that they felt it wouldn't represent what the interview really was if they hadn't put in an instance where she interrupts.
What made the scene so jarring wasn't merely the optics, it was that it symbolized the collapse of Belichick's greatest strength, control, discernment, having an almost hypnotic spell over the media, the unshakable ability to know where the battles were fought and won.
Find the weaknesses of your opponent and attack.
Somehow, the man who once schemed out a game plan to stop the greatest show on turf, the Rams offense, couldn't manage a basic PR rollout for a book. The man who once ruled Foxborough like a silent emperor now appeared lost, passive, and perhaps taken advantage of. I felt fucking sorry for Belichick. I've felt a lot of things for that man, but pity has never been won. Insiders paint an even messier picture behind the scenes. Sources told TMZ that Hudson insisted on being copied on professional emails regarding Belichick's UNC role, even signing them as COO Belichick Productions. She reportedly treated CBS producers with disdain, interjected even on football questions, and ultimately caused a 30-minute production delay. When higher-ups at CBS saw the raw footage, plans for a follow-up interview were quietly canceled. Let's not do another one of those guys. Even within the UNC athletic department, there's growing unease about Hudson's influence, according to multiple reports. Belichick, who is supposed to lend instant credibility to the program, is instead dragging a soap opera into the heart of Chapel Hill. And all of this would be sad enough if it were happening to any 73-year-old former coach clinging to relevance, but it's happening to this man, the ultimate master of self-control, the oracle of do your job, the living embodiment of ruthless professionalism, a true master of his domain. This is the same Bill Belichick who, when asked after winning the AFC Championship how it felt, responded,
We're on to Cincinnati. We're getting ready for Cincinnati. We're getting ready for Cincinnati.
The same man who coldly cut Hall of Fame players a year too early rather than too late. The same man who benched Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl just a couple years after Butler single-handedly won the Patriots Super Bowl 49.
I want to know about Malcolm Butler. Why he didn't play in a game against Philadelphia in the Super Bowl where you gave up 1 million points.
The same man whose frosty relationship with the media was the stuff of legend, often refusing even basic questions with monosyllabic, gruff responses.
I guess, man. Stupid thing.
This moment in time with Belichick, for me, I think might be my last. Now I've seen it all. Now I've truly seen it all. It was Bill's very ability to tune out noise and resist the temptation of self-promotion that separated him from so many of his peers. In an NFL increasingly obsessed with branding, Belichick remained an enigma. No commercials, no podcasts, no public confessionals. He let the rings speak for themselves. But cracks in the armor had been forming even before Jordon Hudson's arrival. The split with Robert Kraft, once his most powerful ally, left scars. By the end of Belichick's tenure in New England, relations between owner and coach had turned icy. Kraft reportedly bristled at Belichick's continued struggles to modernize the offense, his cold detachment, and the post-Brady results. Belichick, for his part, remained stubborn, convinced he could outlast even Father Time if given full autonomy. Their eventual divorce, shrouded in polite press releases but brimming with private resentment, was as much about ego as results. Kraft wanted a warmer, more accessible Patriots brand. Belichick wanted to win football games his way or not at all. In the end, neither truly got what they wanted, and Kraft couldn't even kiss him on his way out because of a cold.
Got a cold, so I'm not going to kiss him.
And now, a little over a year later, here's Belichick, no longer feared, no longer respected in the same unassailable way, his legendary privacy compromised not by betrayal from within the Patriots building, but by someone he chose to bring into his famously small inner circle. I watched this CBS interview with, maybe for the first time, a bit of sympathy for Belichick. I thought, is this the same man? What the hell happened? How did a guy who had no problem trading Randy Moss and Richard Seymour suddenly find himself in a position where it seems like he's being held hostage by a woman a third of his age? What kind of Jedi mind tricks is she doing on him? Is there some sort of blackmail situation going on, or does getting your geriatric knob slobbed on by a 24-year-old soften even the hardest of exteriors? Hudson's defenders argue that age gaps should not be a scandal, that love can be unconventional, that public mockery is cruel. I'm a lot less interested in that part, honestly, but if this were just a passing romance that played out quietly, we'd all forget about it, but it's not. Hudson has inserted herself into Belichick's professional dealings, released his private emails, and perhaps worst of all, shattered the image of his imperviousness that Belichick so carefully cultivated for 50 years. The fallout from this interview continues. As it was revealed, she was the reason Hard Knocks canceled its plans for a UNC version of the show. Honestly, that might have been the most self-aware move of all, and probably saved Bill a lot of headache. Or maybe she wasn't so self-aware because the reason Hard Knocks with UNC got derailed was because Hudson wanted to be heavily involved with the show, which of course begs the question, who the fuck does she think she is? In what world does she need to be or deserve to be anything more than a cameo in a documentary chronicling Bill Belichick's first head coaching job in college? You don't fuck with Hard Knocks. The more I think about it though, they should have let her be the focal point of the show and expose how insane this whole relationship is. The world has changed around Belichick. He used to command silence with the glare, but today's media cycle demands access, vulnerability, and performance. Where once he could scoff at branding and make jokes about InstaFace and SnapFuck or whatever.
You joined InstaFace, as you put it. I love that.
Every relationship, every email, every misstep is another data point in the 24-hour gossip cycle. And brother, does that cycle keep on churning. Watching how uncomfortable he was on CBS, Belichick never wanted to play this game, ever. But in allowing Hudson to wield influence unchecked, he has stumbled into it all the same, just like all the mortals before him. One moment that gave me hope that the old Bill is still there.
What's the reaction been like?
What's it been like?
Just a little glimmer, Bill's still there. And people are questioning how Bill and Jordan even met in the first place because of this response she had in the interview.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
No?
No.
The story was that they were coincidentally seated next to each other on a flight from Boston to Florida in 2021. I'll let you do the age math on that one.
It's a topic neither one of them is comfortable commenting on.
But now we're getting a bit skeptical, and it's all because of an unforced error from Jordon Hudson. She shut down a question about how the two met, which made it into the final cut of the interview, and now people are throwing out all kinds of theories regarding the nature of their relationship. I'll let you sift through those conspiracies on your own time. Why would she be worried that Bill would be dumb enough to answer that question in a way that made them both look bad? He's a master at not answering shit.
You ask him a tough question after a loss, he mumbled, never gave you an answer.
Bill addressed exactly that, though, in a statement released through UNC, saying that Jordan was not shutting down any particular question because there wasn't a good answer, but because they had agreed to only talk about the content of the book. But how the hell do you bring your girlfriend to the interview and expect a professional journalist not to question the nature of that relationship? This is not Bill's first rodeo with the media. It might be Jordan's, but if you thought they were only going to ask about the book, Bill, then I've got a bridge to sell you. The best way to go about this is to answer the question and then move on. It's not that hard. Instead, it's opened the origin of this arrangement to all sorts of conspiracy. And let's say Bill is right. Let's say CBS edited this way to make him and Jordan look bad.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
So the idea that they would show that and make it part of their interview suggests that, like, their producers, whatever their limit is, she went so far across it.
Yeah.
The answer is for CBS to give us the full interview, isn't it, CBS? Which I honestly don't think Bill would want or would do him and Jordan any favors. CBS countered that statement with one of their own, saying, "When we agreed to speak with Big Bill, it was for a wide-ranging interview. There were no preconditions or limitations to this conversation. This was confirmed repeatedly with his publisher before the interview took place and after it was completed."
But coaching's fun, and honestly, I feel like I haven't worked a day in my life.
And if you watch the full interview, you will see there is a lot about Bill and football, which I think, helped Bill in his goal of promoting his new book, The Art of Winning. I'm currently a little more interested in the book Bill's son will write one day, The Art of Losing, My Inheritance. Now, to get to the truth of the matter, I went to the only place that I read the news, Black Sports Online. According to a report, Jordon Hudson has quietly built an $8.5 million real estate portfolio since she and Belichick started their relationship in 2021. Now, she's purchased like 4 different homes under an LLC that lists her as the borrower since then, ranging from $1.2 to $3 million purchases, in addition to another home listed as her primary residence. Now, none of the articles could confirm she actually used Bill's money for these investments, but they all allude to the idea that she didn't have the capital herself to do this. And I'm going to give her credit because these all look like smart purchases that are now generating $17,675 a month in rental income. She may be using Bill's money, but she's turning it into more money. She's building her own insane wealth, and she's doing it quickly. It's the involvement in the football areas, even as a media handler or whatever, and the reported 18-plus companies she's allegedly registered tied to Bill's name that I think concern everyone from me to Charles Barkley.
I'm a little concerned with some of the stuff that's going on.
To just your casual
cock.
The statement felt like damage control. It feels like Bill has lost control. But I think we can agree on one thing here. She's hijacked the Belichick brand. She's broken into Fort Knox. She's far from qualified for the role she now has, in not just his personal business dealings as his de facto public relations person, but her role within the University of North Carolina. It's just odd. And I don't doubt Belichick's mental acuity at the age of 73, but it reminds me of when a celebrity goes off the deep end and is placed under a conservatorship by someone who's only there to take advantage of their influence, their fame, and of course their wealth. For the first time in my life, I feel bad for Bill Belichick. I think he made a mistake in terms of who he's trusted, and he's starting to see the walls close in on him.
Spitting on it, lubing it up to get further penetration up your ass, coach.
This is not the man we knew in Foxborough. This is a far cry from that, and it's making me a bit concerned. But maybe we're just at halftime of the Falcons Super Bowl, and Bill's gonna... Oh no, Bill needs Tom Brady for the comeback, doesn't he? I think Tom's single, Bill. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube. YouTube's all that matters to me. YouTube's all that matters to me. All those other sites can eat shit.